This is Adam Post, publisher of College of the Dead, publisher of more than 1,000 comics. But tonight, what we're focusing on is not me, a little bit of me, but mostly 99%. The amazing Christopher Rue, who's got this incredible project, Iron Skies, that has blown away a lot of people. A lot of people are very excited about it. We're going to find out all about Chris and how he got involved in comics. We're going to find out the story of Iron Skies, what it's been like to do this campaign. It's a successfully funded campaign. There's hundreds of backers on this, and to find out how it's all coming together and how it's going, and find out. We know it's still in demand, so it's still available to buy, which is great. And we'll find out, what else is available with this book, and how you can still get it if you want to check it out. I really think it is a book that you should check out. It's a beautiful looking book. So, Chris, we'll get right into it. It's you and I have met a couple times before. Every time we talk, I kind of find you to be a really interesting guy, and I just want to know more about you. So, how you doing tonight? Good so far?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. Just got off work, got home, so I'm doing fantastic.
Whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Sorry, that was me. Okay. So, I'm just double checking the stream, and give me just 1 second.
Sure thing.
I just want to make sure we are live. Just have to double check this from a tech standpoint. Yes, we are live. Okay, fantastic. We should be anyway. All right, great. So, how did you first get involved in comics? Is this the first comic you've ever written before?
Yeah, and it wasn't specifically written as a comic even originally. It was, I knew that I wanted to be some sort of visual medium. But so I first got into comics way back in like the early 90s. My dad, I told him I wanted a comic book. He went to the comic shop, asked him, what would be good to get, and it was Stormwatch, issue 1.
Oh, wow,
yeah,
Stormwatch.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It had like Fuji and all them on the cover, and so I saw that and I was just blown away. I was like, this is awesome. So I read some like Predator comics and stuff growing up through the 90s, and then I kind of at some point switched over to reading more manga and stuff like that. So I was actually kind of thinking something like manga, anime, whatnot while I was writing it. And so the way I write when I'm thinking in a visual medium is a lot different than if I just write out a story in prose standard. Because I'm not like, I don't know, like my short story I wrote for Pilcrow and Dagger wasn't written with the same kind of mindset of striking image after striking image and how to connect them, and how the plot points or how the elements of the story come together to make those striking images. I was just thinking in terms of plot and character development and stuff like that, without necessarily having those like gut punch moments of you see something and you just makes your jaw drop and you're like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Really resonates with you.
Right. So I've got some points in my comic where I was like, oh man, like my artist is putting out sweet work. But there is one that I don't want to show, and I won't show until it goes out.
Don't.
But it's my double page spread, and it's towards the end of the book, and it's the reveal of the airship, and it's just phenomenal. It's one of the coolest spreads I think I've ever seen.
Chris, I don't even understand it. How I keep seeing, and maybe it's just that it was me that did a bad job. The first comic I ever published was in the mid '80s. And the cover was great. The first couple of pages was great. The idea was great, but I didn't pick the right artist, and he wasn't able to finish the comic. We had to have other guys do it. It didn't come out good. So I'm like, I don't know how you're able to produce, like, as a first effort, such a beautiful project.
So that's actually a lot of it is I was fairly picky with who I wanted to be my artist, and I'm patient. That's really the two things. I told him, I was like, hey, he's already done with all the interior work.
Wow, congratulations. How many pages is that?
40, dead on.
40.
And then,
awesome.
So I'll probably it'll probably print at about 48, and that'll be a black and white preview for issue 2, unless we make the stretch goal. But assuming that we didn't, it'll be like just like that right there, black and white grayscale, and our preview will be like just for issue 2, like basically the first few pages, probably 4 or 5 pages, something like that.
The only thing I would suggest, by the way, is just so
Yes.
that what's funny, Chris, is that people look at things and they interpret them in a moment, and then if they don't get the message you wanted them to get, then they're like, "Oh, I misunderstood." Because I misunderstood when I first looked at your book. It's so beautiful. I thought it was a beautiful black and white book, and it is a beautiful black and white art at like book at this moment, but it's being colored also. So it's not really a black and white book, it's a color book. So you might need to have your colorist like do a splash of color if you publish in black and white. You know what I mean? Like maybe half of the page in color saying this will be in full color, you know?
Gotcha. And
just so
I
they don't
really
misunderstand. But this would be gorgeous in black and white.
Well, and so funny you bring that up, but because it will eventually also be offered in black and white, probably not until all 12 issues. So right around 500 pages are done. But right around that 500 page completion mark, all 12 issues are knocked out. That's when I'll probably go back, have it all remastered, make sure that basically it'll just have to probably be relettered, because all of the thought boxes and stuff like that are color coordinated for the character, so that just at a glance, oh, that's that character's thought box, that's that character's thought box, that's that character's. So you don't have to sit there and be like, who is this? Who's thinking
But
this?
you still have the little pointy things, right?
Yeah. When the person's visible, but it'll be one of those things that hopefully it just clicks with people, because if they're not,
just my 2 cents
visible.
on that one, since I'm throwing 2 cents at you all over the place. Since you have the incredible Eric Weathers lettering this,
Yes.
just ask him if he wouldn't mind thinking for a moment about how would you do this in black and white? Just how would you? Is there a way we could do this so that it works great in color, but also works in black and white?
Sure.
And let him because he's a master. He really is a master letterer.
Sure. Yeah.
And when you have so much talent around you, you can rely on your talent. And he might say, "Hey, listen, not doable, man." Or he might say, "Well, look, let me try this. Do you like this?" And then we just make a small adjustment to it, and then it works. But yeah, you want to try to work with people. Give you any kind of feedback you can get. Who really have experience like that? He's great. I'd love to have him letter something for me. So you're saying this is eventually going to probably be in black and white as well, but it's color.
So it'll be in like if you're familiar with manga, there's something called a tankobon. It's like an omnibus. It's the full collection usually, and it'll probably just be black and white newsprint, like a cheap kind of flip through manga. I figure at 500 pages, when it's all said and done, that'll be just a cool little thing. Like there's nothing quite like the feel and smell of newsprint. There's something really cool about black and white grayscale. There's something cool about an entire story digestible in like one form. So it's like you have one book, that's the whole complete story. So that's kind of cool.
That's a very cool idea, and I'm sure it'll ultimately happen because you really have a vision for the format, and when people see it, they're going to really like it. Just so you know, another kind of FYI, Peter Cimetti from Alterna Comics has a newsprint printing service. He prints all his comics in newsprint, and it's very inexpensive. It's like 50 cents a comic, even for 500 of them. It's 32 pages. So if you wanted to add, like for Iron Skies, and I know you don't necessarily, but I'm just going to throw it at you for a second. But if you wanted to do a black and white newsprint version of Iron Skies and offer another tier here while you're in demand, Peter can get you, I think, 500 of them for about $350, all in net shipping, delivered to your door. And it might be an upsell special edition that your existing backers, you have 400 of them. If 50 of them went for it,
right. Well, and the other thing is I was actually planning on potentially at some point running it by Alterna, seeing if they wouldn't mind picking it up once I'm near the completion of it. I don't want to do it so early because this is probably a good 4-year project would be my guess. So it'll probably take me 4 years to get all 12 issues out, I think, or at least finished. Like they may not even all be out by then, just based on how long campaigns run and things like that. But
Well, one of the great things about Alterna is they're super straightforward. So you can, I don't know exactly what their guidelines are. Peter is a great guy. He does what he says he's going to do. He doesn't go outside the lines. He keeps it really simple. And what he does, he has a very straightforward way of working. You can go on his submission guidelines on his website, and he'll tell everybody, like, just follow the guidelines. And he actually works like far in advance, like a year, or I almost want to think a year and a half or 2 years in advance. So
yeah, it's pretty far now. Because I was looking at those a while ago. And one of the things on submission guidelines is having a good timetable and understanding, like, because they don't want something running for 5-10 years. If it takes you like a year to get one issue out or something like that.
Yeah, and the truth is, with Iron Skies, like, your real potential really is in crowdfunding. To get 400 backers is fantastic. It's really good. Your pricing was very low. Your pricing was low, and you gave free shipping on some things that maybe second time around you wouldn't do. But you could be with the ability to track 400 backers, you could be at 25,000 for this campaign. And then once you deliver, Iron Skies 2 could be a bigger campaign past that.
Yeah, and that's my goal. Like, so that first one, part of the reason that I kept my costs down and everything, I'm really doing everything I can to try and entice people into giving it a shot. Because I do have faith in my comic. I have faith in my storytelling. I definitely have faith in my artist. He's freaking phenomenal.
He is. I actually was looking at some of his work, because you credit everybody very nicely in the listening, and he's perfect for exactly this.
Yeah.
So there's other things he does that are not as suited to his skill set in comparison to somewhat other guys do.
Right.
But for this, forget it. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And well, then the other thing is that he's just getting better. Like, there's things that I see that I didn't see the first time around when he first sent it to me, because I was just overjoyed. But I can see now, even that he's on issue 2, his art's improved. Everything's better. Everything's a little tighter. Just
That's
in
so
general,
cool.
I'm watching him evolve his style and ability as I do the same. And so it's amazing. I love watching everything like kind of come together like that. So yeah, it's been a trip, and I couldn't be happier, man.
You got some of the coolest guys at COMICSGATE in here. Brian does a really cool book called Six Gun Gorilla. Yeah. We're gonna get it on together, and that's his artwork in there. The incredible Matt Wanger, who everybody knows and loves and has special feelings for. Wanger he's hysterical, and he's a great guy. He knows a lot about writing as well, and he tells a great story about going on his last cruise when he had a cruise ship of heroes. It was a heroes themed cruise ship. It was fascinating. And Sweens is going to be on actually tomorrow night. We're going to be talking to Sweens with Oddity. And it's just great having all you guys in COMICSGATE, all you cool people. That is exciting that he's on issue 2 already, and that the work just keeps getting better. So tell me about the story of Iron Skies. Okay,
so Iron Skies is taking place after a massive war. Basically, an entire kingdom was crippled, mostly genocided, and brought to its knees. It has no ruling class left. And so now you've got like one fairly cocky nation that's kind of just like shoving people around a bit, testing boundaries, and then a completely destroyed one. And in the midst of all of that, and an entire continent that's just kind of, embroiled in skirmishes and battles and a destroyed nation and upset economies and everything. You've got a fallen legend who took part in the last war, and like a young thief that has never really gone outside of his town, and just a girl that has a hidden past sort of thing. One of those tropes.
Tropes are great. I love tropes.
Well, they're recognizable, and they help you understand.
Yeah,
kind of
relatable.
Yeah, they're tropes for a reason, as long as they're done well. Um, but the whole idea is that there's just no good position, no land offer safe haven. Like airships are hunting the skies. There's gladiators dying in the sand. The magi are contending with demons. That's basically how the magic works.
So this is not Earth, or is it an alternate Earth, or it's not Earth?
No, it's not Earth.
But they're
not
human beings.
current Earth. Yeah, they are humans. It's not. If it is, it's not clear necessarily whether or not it was ever Earth, but it's not known as Earth anymore. If it was, and there is very much different.
So this is like all badass steampunk coolness with magic, sorcery stuff. Oh, sorcery! So there's magic here.
Yes, there is a. So basically, the magic system is based around grimoires that are bound demons. And so the magi are, that people who practice magic takes first person you run into that does that's an issue too. But they have to contend with demons like every moment. Otherwise, they can be controlled, etc., etc. And then there's also something just far to the east called the Wraith Wall, and that's like what cuts off travel in the continent. So like you can continue past it. It's an ethereal wall. The issue is that on the other side, like it's basically you go past and you pretty much never come back. Wow. There's all kinds of fake creatures and things of the sort. So it's one of those. It's like kind of like the old school first person to try to sail around the world Magellan style. Like you don't know what's beyond. Everybody who's ever tried died. You know, basically sort of things out east. And then out west, you've got the most highly advanced sort of like steampunk capital, basically. And then in the middle, you've got kind of like the military might power. The south is in ruins, and the north is like a desert little area with basically a bunch of gladiators and tribal combat sort of a culture or civilization going on.
This coloring is beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. So that's Dijo Lima. He's he just hit me up, and so I was super happy. He saw the line work from Renan Shoddy, my artist. And
oh, you're kidding. And he's like, I want to color that.
Yeah, he messaged me and he was just like, hey, so I'd love to be a part of this project. And I was like, fantastic.
Just so you know, that doesn't always happen. That's not like normal. You know, that's not normal.
Right? Yeah. I had to find my artist in the first place, and I assumed I'd have to do the same thing with colorists and everything else. So, yeah, I didn't expect it. I didn't think that was going to happen. I was actually in the middle of looking for a colorist, and he just popped up and was like,
that's
hey.
just a blessing.
And yeah, and the fact that he was just so damn good.
Yeah, he's really good. Did you give him a lot of direction, like for this coloring? Or
no, I give him.
He knew at nighttime.
Yeah, I give him. So I let him know like time of day and things like that. If there's anything that's really important color wise, I mention it. But otherwise, I basically let him play with it. If you scroll down, I think there's a scene where he's running across a rope.
Oh yeah,
not the first time. Yeah, further down, right there. Yeah, down.
I love this. I know, but this is.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that my splash page or first splash page. Yeah.
Oh, that's
and then you see where he does that muted red in the background. Like,
yeah,
I didn't tell him to do that. That was just I was blown away.
Oh wow!
Super happy with it. And you can see he just tossed the lighter behind him. Like So
he looks like a great colorist.
Yeah,
I think you're going to be seeing a lot more from him.
Yeah, and he works with I think Xenoscope, and he does work with some other people. I know he's doing a lot of work all at once. It's actually the one thing that could potentially delay me is he's awesome, and so I'm more than happy to be patient. But that is the thing that is taking the most time is the colors, definitely.
Well, you just the best way to deal with that is to just have really good communication with the people you're working with, and agree to some kind of a schedule, even if it was only 1 page a week, and say, listen, let's just have a minimum of 1 page a week. But I got to tell you, that is going to make a problem for me. So as soon as you have downtime, I want you to do more than 1 page, and then say to him, tell me, not the same conversation, a follow-up conversation. Tell me what we need to do to speed this up. Like, is there any way you can prioritize this to speed this up? and then let him use his imagination. Again, same thing like as I was saying with Eric before, like, you rely on other people, man, to help you and stuff. And sometimes you talk to people and you realize, man, there's nothing I can do. And if there's nothing you can do, part of your solution, who told me this the other day? I was talking to Carl Rowe, who does that beautiful book, Death
Oh
Sworn.
yeah.
He hired someone to do flats. So doing flats, it does save colorist time. And he's a painter. And he's like, well, I hate doing flats. And it takes a lot of time for me. So I just hired somebody to do flats. So it's helped me get the book done. I
Right.
was really surprised. Usually people do everything themselves. They don't want to like hire someone to do part of it. So I was just impressed with that. So that may be a thing like with this guy where, perhaps it saves him time and, it speeds up your schedule, and the cost of flats is not a lot of money. I mean, maybe
Well,
it's
I know
five.
he has people do flats for him. I
He
do know
does.
that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, then I don't know what his excuse is. Then he's got to get moving. This is such
It's just
good work.
multiple projects at once, I think. But
Yeah, well,
yeah, I gotcha. But so it could potentially be a slight delay, but it won't be much. He's still making a pretty good clip for what I was wanting.
yeah, this is
Like,
gorgeous work.
and
Gorgeous work.
again, like it's one of the things where as long as I'm not disappointed in the final project,
Yo,
I'm
you're not
willing to
lowering your
take a little
standard.
bit of a yeah. That's the thing, is I'm not willing to speed up production by 2 weeks if it means cutting corners.
Let me ask you. So Kanan White did this cover.
Yes.
Did he do any of the designs on this, or was this all like referenced? Like, did he design any of these characters, or
No, the
his
characters
background
were
stuff?
designed by a combination of like myself, and artist who went by uh, Charlie Grins on DeviantArt. Well, years ago, I hired her to help get some of the design concepts out, because I've been working on the story for about a decade now.
That's fantastic.
So and then Renan Shoddy, and then I just basically gave him some of the pictures Renan had done and the what do you call them, references, and he did that. But the gears and the overall design and concept, he just knocked that out pretty quick.
That's great.
It was impressive. Yeah,
That's
he's
a
a
very
beast.
cool. Now, is this like does this go to that other plane or something like that? Or is it just a frame?
Yeah, it's just a frame. This
Okay.
is we don't get into that until much later in the series. About halfway through is where you start running into the whole wraith wall and everything else. This is just basically kind of getting everything in this first issue, like the idea of the first issue, which is airships, the main characters, and the overall sense of adventure. Because that's the first issue is really just introductory. It's letting you know who these people are, and that it's an adventure action sort of thing going on, and the aesthetic. So the idea of the promise of the premise, which is you get steampunk, you get sorcery, and you're going to get that in the first 3 or 4 issues. You're going to get hit with a good bit of that, and then it moves on more towards some of the plot points and things like that later on. But that's like the fun and games section. I don't know if you guys have read like Blake Snyder's Save the Cat, but he goes into that idea of like promise of the premise and stuff like that, and it helps you really, I think, tighten everything down. So
Yes.
they
Save the Cat is a book on writing, and that's what Chris is recommending right now. Very cool. I just wanted guys to know. You know what? I'm going to put that in the chat if you guys want to look it up. I've heard a lot of people say they like it, and honestly, I haven't read it. And I'm, as you say it, I'm thinking to myself, why haven't I read that book? I've heard it's great.
for me, it's just it helps.
I really appreciate. I want you to just excuse me for interrupting. I just want to hold that thought. I like this observation from our friend Longbox Diving. It looks very cross-gen, and it does. It reminds me, now that you mentioned it, reminds me of when cross-gen was doing cool fantasy books. Oh my God, years and years ago. That science fiction fantasy world universe they had. Did you ever get any of the cross-gen books?
No, I can't say I'm familiar with them.
Oh, you know what? That's so cool. You mentioned it. See, Longbox, good for you, man. Google CrossGen at some point, one word, and you'll see it's a whole independent comics company, and they were based in Florida, and they were around for a few years. run by a guy named Mark Alessi. But the important thing from what we're talking about is they had some very cool fantasy and sci-fi things. You might see some stuff that you like in there. Brian, I really like this point that Brian's making, because I find this all the time. That's why I sometimes even barely complete my thoughts, because as he said, that's what the magic happens when your artist does things you didn't expect and it works better than you had originally imagined it. And you tell the artist what you want, and then sometimes they have this great idea of how to implement it, and just make it fantastic. Oh, all right, Longbox. Brian noticed it first, so credit to Brian as well. Credit to Longbox for mentioning it, and credit to Kenny for backing our great book here, Iron Skies. That's the whole point, brother. Thank you for doing that.
Fantastic. Thank
It
you.
really is. It is a beautiful book, and I can tell you that Chris has been with me a couple times on Ethan Van Sciver's channel on COMICSGATE Live, and everybody loves the book, and it does really well on there every time we're on. What did Sean say? What's behind the red curtain? Oh, my red curtain. I can never tell you that. It's not part of the book either. Come on now. You'll never know. There are some secrets and some hints in some of my other videos, Sean, so you have to start watching them. But you'll never truly know. Very few people actually know. I think Wenger knows. Yeah, very, very, very cool. I like talking about writing with people. I'm not sure how many people get super psyched about writing. I think it's always cool when people pick up tips on writing. And what's great about writing is it's almost like a way that we can all get involved in the creative process and see our ideas come to light. Because if we're not artists, then well, what else could we possibly do but try to write something and collaborate with some other people, and then we eventually get an awesome looking project like this. What gave you the idea to have? Yeah, go ahead, man.
Oh, that was the wildest moment. Probably was the very first few pieces of art that started coming back, because my artist did character sketches for me, like right off the bat for free. He was like, "Oh man, if you've already got the concept, and I'm not like making a new concept for you and doing like actual full on concept art, and you just want to see it in my style, yeah, here." And I just got like those 3 crew members right there, and just blew me away. Like it was like finally real. It was starting to come together.
All right. Do you have roughs for this, like rough pencil layouts?
Not on here. I get some sent to me every now and then.
I'm trying to figure out how to make extra money with you, not with you, but for you. So, like, we did an ash can for College of the Dead, and it's text. It's the full written script that we gave the artist, and it's the layouts that the artist did, not the pencils and inks, just the rough layouts that we approved. Script one side, layouts the other side. We put it together. It's a 100-page book plus some of the character designs, and it's our ash can book. And for us, it's a $25 book. It's a 100-page book. It's extremely educational. It's a very cool book. I didn't know if it was going to be cool when I had the idea to make it, but I made a prototype, and it looks cool, and it's been selling well. It's done well for us. So if you have concept art and stuff like that, I really think about making an ash can that's a separate product,
Okay. I don't think I've got enough right now for a separate product, unfortunately, but I have sold out of the original art for issue 1. So I'll probably on the next one. If we hit issue 2, I'll start selling the issue 2 original art too.
You could do that, but you can't charge $100 anymore. Not for this.
No, I know. Agreed.
But it's great that your artist is working with you too on that. He understands. Everyone working on you really set a tone, and your colorist loves the project. Your artist obviously loves the project, and you're making an incredible project. Let's talk about the tiers. I mean, we already got one back. I think we can get a couple more back. So what is the featured tier? Let's see.
So that's a signed copy of Iron Skies. That's going to be either cover, and it comes with a digital poster, and it's just a signed copy. So it can be the black and white or the color for the cover.
Okay, it's signed by you, the writer and creator, obviously.
Yes.
Awesome. Very cool. $20. And on this version, you didn't charge shipping. Guys, I'm trying to talk Chris into hiding out some of these older perks and creating some new perks that include reasonable amounts of shipping, because Chris was new getting into the game here, so he's going to do okay. He'll make some money on this campaign, but it's very tough on a publisher to have to pay for producing an entire book and to pay for all the shipping and not charge people for it. So, if you're going to back the book, I think sooner than better. It's definitely going to help out Chris, but it can help out you too. You might wind up getting it at a smaller price. So,
Right.
no reason to wait on this. Digital download of Iron Skies. Okay, so you did it digital.
Yep. I mean,
And it's
that's just in
straight
case
up.
somebody doesn't want. Okay, so I think I do have one person who doesn't necessarily want their address known, who did digital, so that they can just have email to them. But for the most part, I think it's just
That's
if you don't
interesting.
necessarily
So
want skin in the game yet.
that's like the anti-docs. Like nobody
Yeah.
will have their street address, just their email address.
Right.
So if you're very concerned about maintaining your privacy, then this is what you would. This is what you would.
And
Get.
there's good reason for the person who I'm talking about to be concerned about their privacy. So yeah, I would say that that's probably what happened there.
I happen to know who it is. That person is Batman, and
Batman, indeed.
Batman is maintaining their address, and they do not want to be. Don't want to be figured out. All right. The physical comic and the digital poster.
Yes. So you'll get the full size digital image emailed to you, and then physical comic for $15 will be mailed to you.
Cool.
And then that's not signed, obviously.
Digital and the candy white cover. Physical comic, digital. Wait a minute. Physical comic, digital poster, but the comic is not signed.
Correct.
And this is free shipping also?
Yep.
Okay. Are you charging to ship? You're charging to ship international something, right?
Yes. It's
Okay.
I believe it's 15 flat for international shipping.
Okay.
I can't do that.
Yeah, that's actually reasonable. Okay. Print poster pack add-on. So this is an extra add-on item you made.
Yeah, so this is just for the premium poster pack because we did hit our stretch goal, and so I've got 2 posters, which for some reason Indiegogo has bugged out every time I've tried to load them up. But I will share them again on Twitter, and I'll try to get them back on Indiegogo, or I'll try to get them on Indiegogo once more.
Maybe you could publish it as an update, like one image or something?
Yeah, I guess I'll do that. And I think I did actually put the image out, but I could be mistaken on that as an update.
Okay.
But I did an update when we hit the 15K mark. And so basically that's if you wanted to pick up the extra poster. And so that way, no matter if let's say you did both covers or something like that, that doesn't offer you the same as the $50 perk. So you could get both covers and still get the premium poster pack if you wanted all of it, basically.
Okay.
So yeah, that would be the next perk would be both covers. And so that's cool. For $35, you'll get black and white cover and the color cover, and they'll be signed.
Maybe you can even do another, have your colorist do another version of that black and white, just as another product too. Always trying to hustle the products. That's me. So you get one of each cover. The black and white is beautiful. It really is.
Yep.
And the color is great too.
Just Kanan's line work right there. Just
he's
so
a master.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, he puts a lot of time into this. He really does.
Yep.
He's not trying to save time on anything.
Yeah.
All your whole team is like they're just trying to do their best work. That's it.
Right. That's what I'm happy with and why I feel good going forward with this.
You have absolutely the right attitude because you have to start strong and then you can do more after this too.
Yeah.
And you're going to adjust your shipping and whatever. And
right. This is my learning campaign right here.
Yeah, so. Me too, man. Me too. My campaign's smaller. I made some mistakes. It's black and white. It's done. We're actually going to be shipping very soon. We're getting the prototypes for my book. We have a set of prototypes. I'm getting the next set of prototypes are coming Friday, and then a final set with some other variations on Tuesday of next week, and then I'm going to make the decision to for the final versions, and we're going to print and ship, and it's exciting. So, buddy pack.
So the buddy pack is just 2 signed copies, and it was the easiest way for me to you don't get to pick which ones. It's just whatever I've got left. You get 2 of them. They get shipped together. That way, if you're overseas or something, you guys can split the cost easier.
It's a good deal.
And if you both wanted, and it starts with color, like so it's black and white only if I start running out of color. So if you both wanted color, that'd be the cheapest option for you versus the both covers, and one person gets color, one person gets black and white.
Cool.
So,
okay, signed comic and poster.
Yeah, so that's the premium poster pack, which is going to be both posters and then the signed comic.
Now, how big are the posters so far?
1 second here, and I should be able to pull that up.
Yeah, guys,
I believe it's 19 by 27 is the size.
19 by 27.
I believe so. Yes,
That's big.
it is pretty big. Yeah, I didn't want like one of them might be smaller, but I know that the first poster that has Anne on it, getting ready to do like her glowy-eyed punch thing. That one was a 19 by 27, and it eats up. It almost kills my laptop when I open it.
How are you shipping it? I mean,
in a roll tube.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Wow. And you can't. That's going to ship separate from the comic.
Yeah, I can't ship them together.
Whoever's backing Chris here, you're going to get an unbelievable package from this guy. You know, he's doing this to get you the comic and to show you what he can do. And I'm really impressed with everything I'm seeing so far. But that's amazing. I would really consider getting the premium poster pack. I'm pretty sure I backed this. I'm not 100% sure because how it's like hard to remember.
There's a lot of it.
Go into my account and stuff and see, but this is impressive. That's really impressive. A lot of guys, I'm one of them, would be nervous to do posters like that because you wind up with fulfillment issues. But you're right. You don't complain. Just put it in a tube and pay what it costs, and people will love it.
Well, and I found fairly cheap, like the $25 extra that you're paying on basically for the $50 pack. That helps negotiate that payment. So, I mean, I don't make much money off of it in the end, but that's not my initial goal. My initial goal is to get my foot in the door and get the product out to people, get people hooked, get them in love with it. I can make money as long as I can keep putting out good products. I'm not trying to one and done. I'm not trying to go for the short grab.
No schemes and scams here.
Yeah,
trying to make good books and
trying to win customers. That's my
goal. Forever.
Yep.
I like it. I really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
What's the chat saying? All right, they're talking about Batman. All right. Well, hey, Batman's important too. Oh, I brought up Batman earlier.
Yes.
About your buyer, your customer. Let me get back on this page. Where's this page gone? So For the Troops. I've seen some people do For the Troops. What is the For the Troops concept? Help me out with that.
So basically what it is I'll send you a signed copy of you do $65. I send you the premium poster pack, and I send you, so it's just like the $50 perk above. But then I donate to Iron Skies Comics to the USO. And that way troops overseas get comic books to read and things like that. It helps them pass the time and, keeps them engaged and whatnot. So
yeah, that's very cool. I'm sure they'll be really happy to get it. So I've seen a few campaigns do it. I didn't fully understand how it worked. Everybody kind of does it all a little bit different. Isn't that interesting? That's very cool. And you got 11 people backing that. So people are down with that. They're interested. You sold 22 pages. So how many? This is a 40-page book.
I actually sold all the pages. I had to change it at one point, so the other one's hidden because I forgot to charge shipping on the first one. And so I actually got like 20.
You never.
Yeah, 25. Well, I mean internationally though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
what's what? How much should you be charging for shipping for original art? I have some guys tell me like $25 is good for shipping.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't charge anything other than my standard fee. So my international flat 15 and no shipping charge on the US.
Did your original art include the comic?
Yes.
Of course. And that's good. What a deal. Yeah, you got some people seriously invested in and interested in your idea, and that's great. And it's money well spent. I mean, they're really, really getting value for this. It's very cool. Really, really very cool. So you're waiting on the colorist. All the interior art is done. That is fantastic. Um, the colorist is a little slower than you want it to be, but it is kind of tough to ship in December anyway. With all the holidays and stuff like that.
Right, right. And that's my goal, is that I can at least have it back from the printers and try and ship and everything by December. Hopefully we won't be much later than that if we are. And if we get earlier, that'd be fantastic. I've got most of the art sent to the colorist, so I'm really just waiting for a lot of that to come back. And then I'll hit up Eric and we'll get it lettered. And he assured me that that wouldn't take terribly long. So
yeah, he's quick. He is
yeah.
really quick.
And then I guess it's just finding a pre-press guy and getting that stuff done, and making sure that there's no issues with the formatting and everything before it goes to print.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you have a couple ideas of who might print it, they can give you specifications on
Okay.
how they want it submitted. And it is important to have the full specifications. My book has been in production for a while, and we changed printers kind of twice because I'm a little picky about that. So we actually go to my College of the Dead. So we've redone the cover has been done probably at least 3 times in recent months, and it's just got to be it's got to be perfect. And then one printer does the specifications different than the other printer does the specifications, and then they look at the files, you give it to them and their specifications, and then they're like, well, all right, but we really meant this, and you make some other
Gotcha.
adjustment. So yeah, if you have the covers and stuff like that, you might be able to get as much as you can get started on that, as soon as possible. It's always best.
Okay.
I'm going to go through College of the Dead real quick. Let's talk about this. I'll tell you about my project. College of the Dead is my zombie apocalypse graphic novel. It's 140 pages, and it's a zombie apocalypse taking place on a college campus, which I always, for a while, I thought, like, why doesn't somebody do a cool zombie series based on a college campus? Because you've got college students to deal with, and college students they're inherently dramatic and interesting. So it's like, why would you not do that? Why is it like, well, you have The Walking Dead and they're like a lot of older people, and like, yeah, older people are fine, but college students freak out and they have fun and they're aggressive and they do wild stuff. So it's perfect.
Yeah.
So
That actually kind of reminded me of The Faculty, if you ever saw that back in the 90s.
yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, but I know I saw it once. And was it college or was that a high school?
I was a high school, but it was
Okay. It was crazy
similar
monster
age, like
stuff going on.
seniors, driving around, people like doing drugs
Yeah.
in school, and the faculty, being
Like, I mean,
taken over by aliens.
Chris, isn't that like the prime age and stuff of like the people that would see this movie, or like, older people see it, younger people see it, but who you make the project for? I would think that's like the target audience. You're not
Yeah,
making it for 8-year-olds and you're not making it for 60-year-olds. So who else?
yeah,
Like young parents?
exactly.
So like college. So that's what College of Dead is. I worked with this writer, Stefan Petruca, who's a great supernatural writer. He worked on X-Files for, I think it was 100 issues with Charlie Adlard, actually the artist on Walking Dead. And he's done stuff for Marvel, stuff for a bunch of other independent companies, a bunch of other kinds of writing. He's written a bunch of novels, all sorts of stuff. Great writer, great characterization, great pacing. The characters are really unique. They're real people. You could really get a sense that you believe they're real. This is the cover that Javier did for College of the Dead Book 2. We're already very well into College of the Dead Book 2. It's nearly done. We just have to actually, like you, mess with the files on it and get it all formatted to be ready to go. We have, of course, the interiors are all done for College of the Dead Book 1. And we've got a good 12 pages of sequential art. This was designed to be 2 panels per page, really for storytelling purposes. And also I did it to promote it on social media. We did some interesting tests with that. But for the most part, I really like how it reads. I get very engaged in the story myself when I sit down and I start going through the pages. You realize like quickly you're just kind of drawn in. I think that having a common panel layout format is very good for suspension of disbelief, but at the same time, it does it is it's a big restriction on the artist. Not so much the writing, but a lot on the artist. It's restrictive, but it reads very well. It's very interesting. And Javier is the only artist that's worked on College of the Dead so far. He's doing some more work on it now for some additional covers, actually, for College of the Dead book 2. And we have character breakdowns in the beginning of the book, and it kind of shows you who everybody is. There's a lot of good stuff to it. This is the Ashcan I was telling you about before. So there's the 140-page graphic novel comic. And the Ashcan is not quite that big. So the comic is, I don't know why it looks like this, where the comic looks very small and the Ashcan looks gigantic. The comic
You
is
got a tiny
smaller.
book, man. It's gonna be a microscopic book. It's gonna be like Cyberpunk small.
Yeah, it's half a manga size. No, it's 3 by 2. No, the comic is 7 by 10, but the Ashcan is 8.5 by 11. So why the perspective looks like that, I'm not sure. But in any case, yeah, the Ashcan's a separate 100-page book. Half of it is the full script. Half of it is layouts. So you get to see how the book really got made. It's kind of the ultimate behind the scenes. And the reason I made the book was partially because I wanted to make sure our numbers worked when we were, making this into a business like this, but also because I really do love the production of the comics. It's so cool to see, like when you were saying you first saw art coming in, it's so cool to see the art coming in. It's so cool to see character designs visualized and be like, and really see all the pieces come together. And it's also very educational. As you've made this comic, I'm sure you've learned yourself a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
But whoever doesn't see that work in progress doesn't benefit from that. So that was my idea, was to make this Ashcan. I didn't know if it would look cool, but the book really did come out cool. The prototype is cool. In fact, I have what is it? The prototypes that we have, the most current prototypes, are in a video of me showing the prototypes in the description link. And that is our comic. And then I also made this art book. This is one panel per page, 260 pages. This square 8.5 by 8.5 book, and that gets people a chance to see the panel art at full size before we added lettering to it, which is also really cool. And look, the art's really cool. But like this, for example, this art, this cover has no logos on it yet. So once we color it and then we add logos and my company logo, and we throw some people's names at the bottom and do all that, we'll do all that nice stuff and it'll be finished. But there is something very cool about just the art with no letters on it and no obstruction on it, and that is what the art book is all about. So we do that full set for 85 US, and so that's what College of the Dead is. It's exciting to be working with you, Chris. It's exciting to be talking to you. It's very cool that you're just so diligent about getting your book done. Everybody really should be backing Iron Skies. It's a fantastic book. Chris is going to deliver to you. You're going to love it, and you're going to see Iron Skies 2 after that. I kind of knew, but I forgot that there's magic in this. So it's steampunk and magic and really well executed. Very, very cool book, and a Kanan White cover.
Yeah, and that one fell into my lap too, man. Like, that was crazy. I was looking to do a cover, and I needed to get it ready for my IGG. And Antonio Bryce had me on his channel. He was one of the first people, Starcasp, and then Antonio Bryce brought me on their channels. And
they're both great.
So after we got done talking about it, he was like, yo, I really dig the concept. This looks badass. So how would you like Kanan White to do your cover? And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like I just freaked out for a moment. I was like, you're like, for really for real? Like, this is really real world, man, right? And so I agreed. I was like, yeah, man, I'll make it happen. I'll scrape together money however I need to do it, because that was before I got any funding or anything like that.
Yeah, it's not super cheap, but it's super worth it.
Yeah,
it is.
Definitely.
Not only is it gorgeous, but it does attract attention to a campaign it's a great campaign. It's a great project. The art is great. everything. You're great. The pricing is great. The shipping's a great deal. It's hard to stand out sometimes. But look, this is great. This is such a cool looking project. So I know
and
a
I
lot.
think one of the cool things about it is that it's one of the few projects in COMICSGATE that's going to be serialized out a set amount, and that amount is bigger than 4. Like it's like there's
Ongoing.
definitely going to be 12 issues. It's already written. It's already done. I have to do some script writing, but the actual story is all written. So it's a fairly long 500-page roughly story, and it's something that you can go each one at, like you can go time at or issue after issue and have a longer story, because I know that's something some people in CG were concerned about. They were like, well, does this mean that with Indiegogo that's kind of the death of like the ongoing story? Are they all going to be basically one shots or very limited, like, you know, like a mini series sort of thing or something like that? So I did think that was kind of cool, and I think
It's very cool. Yeah, and I'm sure you can do more stories past that. I mean,
yeah, no, I've already got a whole nother arc set up. It's not 100% written out yet, but I've already got basically 3 more concepts that's in the same world. So I've got a bunch of stuff going on for it that I could do as long as this does well enough for me to do them.
Who designed the Iron Skies logo?
So that is a girl by the name of Das Nomo. She's fucking fantastic. She's from DeviantArt, DASGNOMO, Das Nomo. And I literally was just like, hey, I'm getting ready to get serious about this. I'm going to need a logo. So I was like, hey, I really would like a nameplate. I wanted it to look kind of like a badge. I wanted it to say Iron Skies. I want there to be gears, wings. I gave her a couple reference shots of both kinds of ideas, and then she blew me away with what she sent back. It was way better than what I expected. So yeah.
Oh, there's Steve Dye too. He's a great guy. Steve Dye, Mr. E. Hey, Steve, great to see you, man. Have you ever been on the War Campaign show?
I have been on with Doodle and Chill with the Red Gaze and a few others.
All right, I gotta send you a link.
And stuff
Steve,
like that.
we might want to get this gentleman on the War Campaign. I think you know what I'm talking about. The War Campaign's a different show, but and it's funny. And they're really great guys, but they're also great customers, great promoters of COMICSGATE, and artists who are really passionate about doing great work. Mr. E has got a comic coming out soon. He also has a great show. He just started a show. I have to add him to my list. And Tank Ferret art is good people too. And I forgot Tank Ferret's project. I can't recall off the top of my head.
Is that one Skunk Girl or no?
What's that?
Was that Skunk Girl or was that a different one?
Different Tank Ferret art.
Yeah.
Tank, if you're around and you want to tell us what your project is, please do, because I can't remember. Hey, the great Steve Dye, he's hailing us. Ro would be elevated by this artwork. That's his way of saying I think Ro would really like it. Ro,
yeah, I think so too.
Oh, Scalpel Zero, that's right. I knew that name.
Okay.
Scalpel Zero. Oh, very cool. Thank you, Tank. Yeah, guys, look, this is a great project. So we should be telling more people about Iron Skies. We should be backing it, but we should at the very least be sharing it more on Twitter. Let's share it. If we know of people that do shows that can have Chris on, let's reach out to him. Chris is on Twitter. Chris, can you? Oh yeah, okay. You worked with Manny on Skunk Girl also. Oh, cool. Very cool. I love this creative community. Can you type your Twitter, please, in the chat so people can just kind of know how to reach out to you on Twitter?
Yeah, if I can figure out how to do that.
Well, just in the white box on the right-hand side of the screen, under where it says Tank Ferret, like you see Tank's got a couple of comments there.
So I see in private chat, I see that. I don't actually have a.
All right. So you know what? Just type Iron Skies. You're going to find this guy. Just search it in Twitter.
Yeah. It's at Witherwood1. Witherwood like anti-Viagra, and then 1, the number. So yeah. So it's at Witherwood1, and that's my Twitter.
I think I just got it right. And I'm at Comics We Love. Feel free to reach out to me anytime too. This is a terrific project. I'm really, I'm glad that you got out and you made it happen. And I know you're a busy guy. I know you a little bit of your personal situation. You're working really hard on this and working hard in the real world too. And you have limited time, but we love seeing you on Twitter. We love seeing you on shows. I'm going to make sure I get you a list of shows that I've compiled. There's like 30 shows that we got to get you on. All right.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Absolutely. As soon as we hang up, I will not forget. Sean, thanks again for joining us. Tank Ferret, thanks for joining us. Steve, great to see you. We're going to get word out to Roe. Tank Ferret, very cool. Oh my gosh. Brian, the Gorilla Man, 6-Gun Gorilla, Long Box, all you guys, thank you so much. Shinto, I love seeing you around. You're always there. Kenny, thank you so much for supporting this project. Hey, the Replicator guy. Yeah, he's a great guy. He produces great books too. It's just a great creative community. Sweens, great to see you. Wenger, great to see you, Mr. Wenger. Peter, our first guy in. Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you so much, Chris, for taking the time to get with us and do this show. And we will continue to support you and promote you and everything we can do to make sure your success continues. Thank you so much for everything you do.
Thank you.
Have a great night, guys.